Mind's functioning. What is the difference between mind and ego? The inner organ, loosely called mind, is divided into 4 categories according to its different functions. The ego is one such. There is the mind in its particular aspect, and it is that which gathers impressions from the outside world. Secondly, there is the reason or intellect, which discriminates and selects from the impressions thus gathered. And third, there is the will, which is that precedes and directs action. It may be loosely called desire. And then is the ego, which is that which claims all activities of the mind. As Sri Shankara says in the Viveka Chudamani, the inner faculty is spoken of as mind or reason, or as doing, ego, or as will. It gets these names according to its various modes of functioning. Mind is the function that conceives of things together and apart. Next, reason is the function that determines what is meant thereby. The ego is an acting I that claims to be this body here. And will is that desire which seeks out what it wishes for itself. Why is intellect considered all important in the world at large? The vast majority of people in the world attribute reality to the apparent sense world, and they live practically out of themselves. All the philosophies and sciences and arts of the world are trying to explain phenomenal problems in terms of the world itself, utilizing the faculty of intellect as the instrument. Of course, the intellect is the highest faculty endowed upon man for his inquiry and traffic inside the world. And the decisions of intellect are accepted as final beyond question. This is why intellect is considered all important in the phenomenal world. But to the Vedantin, intellect, though subtle, is only an object like any other object, to be examined for its content or svarupa, its true nature, from the standpoint of pure awareness, and disposed of as mere appearance. Can you speak of spirituality and the replacing the object by the subject? The worldly way of life is to emphasize the object alone in every activity, ignoring the subject altogether. Spirituality comes in when you begin to bring in and emphasize the subject also, alongside of the object. Ultimately, when spirituality leads you to realization, the object as such vanishes, and the real subject, the I principle of pure consciousness, alone shines. Then all activity points to you, or all activities vanish. Mind has usually 3 stages of expression. The first is instinct, with the body as its instrument. The second is reason, with the particular mind and senses as instruments. And thirdly, intuition. Now, the word intuition is used in different senses in different texts. What is taken up here is yogic intuition. With true intuition, time and space are curtailed to a very great extent. But still, they are there to enable the intuition to function. The mind is much expanded in intuition. Still, it does not cease to be mind. Complete annihilation of time and space can never be accomplished by the mind. The background is in an entirely different plane. Morality. Can you speak of the efficacy of moral laws? All codes of ethics and morality, if strictly followed, make you come nearer to the truth. All such laws demand, to some extent, the sacrifice of the lower self, or ego mind. The ultimate goal of all such laws is certainly selflessness, or egolessness. But unfortunately, ethics and morality, being objective in the strict sense, cannot take one to absolute selflessness. Absolute selflessness is truth itself, the ultimate subject. It can be visualized only with the help of the satguru. All thoughts of striving for and recognizing selflessness are in the mental realm. Pure selflessness dawns only when one transcends the mind and stands as Atma, the real self. Can you speak of what good and bad are from a spiritual sense? Association with objects makes one bad. Association with the I principle consciousness makes one good. What is the purpose of morality? Morality, if followed intelligently and with earnestness, takes one to the egoless state, just like any other path of devotion or yoga. The path of service and chastity, one-pointed love and devotion, adopted by the gems of womanhood of ancient India, was nothing other than this path of morality. Ancient history abounds in stories of arrogant yogis of great powers and reputations, and even the lords of the Trinity begging at the feet of such ladies for their thoughtless misdeeds. Morality has the touch of the absolute in it. The outer covering is immaterial. It is the touch of the absolute alone that matters. That attenuates the ego every time you come in contact with it. So morality has to be observed, but without any eye on its fruits. So what is the truth about doing good deeds to others? It is not the nature of the act alone that constitutes its goodness. The test of every act is to see whether it binds you or releases you. For example, if after giving charity, the thought that you have done a good deed sticks to you, it certainly binds you, though only with a golden chain. It clearly amounts to an evil, so far as yourself and the truth are concerned. Your ego gets inflated thereby. It is the mental attitude that counts in all such matters. You can be really good only on reaching the ultimate truth, when even the good loses its goodness and becomes transformed into that ultimate truth. Current standards of morality are purely relative and differ vastly with time, place, and various other factors. But man being essentially one all the world over, a common and absolute standard of morality is necessary. But this, however, is rarely thought of. Such an absolute standard becomes necessary only for those who are on the path to the absolute reality. These are incredibly few, and hence the absence of any satisfactory definition of a single standard of morality in the Shastras, the sacred texts. The following can be such an absolute standard of morality. Vice is that particular act or thought or feeling that tends to inflate the ego. Virtue is that act, thought, or feeling that tends to eliminate or attenuate the ego. All acts, thoughts, and feelings directed towards the I principle or pure consciousness or to its nature are virtuous. Virtue and vice have a place only in the relative sphere. In the relative sphere, that which tends towards selflessness is virtue, and that which tends towards selfishness is vice. Love itself can be both selfish and selfless, according to its goal or motive. Objectless love is virtue. When you understand from your guru who you really are and what you really are, you transcend both virtue and vice.